Morning, Mikel. Thanks so much for doing this. I guess one of the reasons why the fans really have taken to you very quickly, Mikel, is obviously you played for the club. You understand the passion of the fans, having played in North London derbies. I mean, tell us about kind of some memories. Tell us about sort of kind of. I mean, you played in a couple of 5-2s, I think, at the Emirates. Really memorable games. What strikes you as the driving force of this particular derby?
Well, you could sense days before the game that that the energy was rising, the expectations. How much it means for the people to defend the badge and the shirt that we are wearing and representing. And I always believe the atmosphere where it's a rivalry, but a very respectful rivalry, and that created a very special atmosphere at the grounds. There wasn't like big collisions or hate, I would say, but respect and will to win, which is the beautiful thing in sports. I was involved, as you said, in some really good ones because there were a lot of goals, a lot of excitement, a lot of change of hands in terms of results during the game. And the players need to understand that, how much it means to people, those kind of derbies, and that if we are winning, or we want to win, that we're going to make a lot of people happy.
Was there one that stood out for you that still...
Probably the 5-2 that when we won and we came back with our results and the way we did it.
Yeah, that was a crazy game, wasn't it?
Absolutely. At the start, it was crazy, but how we reacted, we never gave up, we kept believing. And we did it because the people was right behind us, and the support that we got that day and the energy level to lift and from being from behind to go and win the game the way we did it. It was superb and generated a really good connection between fans and players.
There was one particular one that I remember in 2013. I don't know whether you remember. Arsenal lost at White Hart Lane, and Villas-Boas talked about a negative spiral afterwards. I think Arsenal slipped 7 points behind that day. But what actually you did was claw it back, and you still finished above them at the end of the season. That spoke to me as if it really meant something to the players, not just to finish in the Champions League, but to finish above Spurs, to kind of get yourselves back there. You all knew what it meant, didn't you?
Yeah, and we got badly touched, and we used that to get all together, and go and finish the season really, really strong. I think we have a tough meeting after that, I remember, because we knew that we failed on the day, but we still had room to improve and correct the situation. And that's what we did. Instead of feeling sorry for ourselves, we went back and won a lot of games after that and finished on top of them.
When you played in them, it felt like both teams were really up there, challenging. Why do you think it is that both, you're clearly making inroads, you're beginning your rebuilding program? Why do you think that the sort of the clubs have slipped that far behind it? And is there that sort of much of a gap to bridge? You're clearly making inroads into that.
Well, I think the level of the two top teams in the league has raised so much, and in a very short space of time, that other teams, because sometimes you are rebuilding your squad because a generation it's finished because a financial different context of clubs in the league. There are many reasons that you will have to analyze, but the gap is going so big in the last 2-3 years that we all have to make a lot of good decisions and very good work to catch up and make that distance much smaller. And I don't think it's 1 or 2 clubs. It's a lot of clubs that we are trying to do that at the moment.
Just finally for me, just how sad is it that you basically be playing behind closed doors? Because it's all about the atmosphere, isn't it? And White Hart Lane was always special, wasn't it?
Absolutely. It's going to be a completely different game. And we know that we are delighted that we are back playing football, but it's not the same experience. It's not the same memory, and it cannot be the same game. And the conditions, and again, the context, the feeling that the players are going to have on that pitch with or without fans is another story.
Mikel, thanks so much. Good luck for Sunday.
Thank you.
Nick at The Guardian.
Hi, Mikel.
Hello.
On Tuesday night against Leicester, you had that half-hour spell after Ober's goal where you were consistently showing loads of attacking threat. You could have scored 2 or 3 more goals. You kept it tight at the back as well. Was that the nearest that we've seen so far to Arsenal being a Mikel Arteta team, do you think?
No, I want to be the Arsenal team and the Mikel Arteta team. I want the players to play that way as much as possible during the games, to play in the opposition half, to be very aggressive every time we give the ball away, to always have in mind that we need to attack the opponent's box and goal. And in order to do that, we need a really good structure to attack the right spaces and generate the overloads where we want, and as well to be able to sustain the opposition, to attack, to run using open spaces and control the situation as much as we can. And we saw that for long periods of the game. Obviously, with 10 men, it's a different story, but I'm glad and happy the way they played again.
You talk about that aggression, and obviously we saw with Eddie's red card when it can sometimes go too far. Now, I know he's not a malicious player and that wasn't his fault, but is there still work to do to channel that aggression into the right places, especially perhaps in a North London derby?
Absolutely, and as I said after the game, that we've been playing with 10 men for 4 times, I think, in the league since I joined. Very different situations, you cannot compare. The aggression word is not towards the opponent at all. It's our aim to control the situations, to be willing all the time to win the ball, to attack better. But with Eddie's situation, he did not see the opponent coming up. And you can see clearly in the images, there was no intention whether the decision was made, and you can justify it actually, but there is no intention at all to harm anybody.
We talk to you every couple of days about contracts and that kind of thing, but one that we haven't mentioned a lot is Shkodran Mustafi, who's obviously been a really important player for you in recent weeks. Are talks underway for him to stay beyond next year, and would you like him to?
I'm really happy with him. I think you clearly can see the way he's playing and how committed he is with everything that we are trying to do. The level that he's showing in his performance every 3 or 4 days is being really consistent, and I am really happy with him.
Are you hoping to extend his contract?
I am really happy with him. That's something that the club has to address, but he knows my opinion on that.
And just one more from me on Jose and Mourinho. You were obviously at Barcelona around the same time, and I think I'm right. He took the B team maybe when you were in it. We know you've learned a lot from Pep, and you've spoken a lot about that before. What did you learn from Jose?
He was great. He used to coach us, as you said, with the Barcelona B. He used to come to our training sessions. He had an incredible energy with young players. He was always very, very supportive, and they all liked him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.